Happy New Year to you. Welcome to MX24. This is Off the Cuff. This is the first edition of our show for 2021. An exciting year, hopefully, where most of the sporting events that are planned and all the activities will come to pass. So it's good to welcome you into 2021. Coming up in this edition, we'll look at all the big stories that we've been keeping across locally and internationally. In England, it was the FA Cup. In other leagues in Europe, it was business as usual. Well, for some clubs at least. For other clubs, the outcomes and the results were not as expected, and we'll bring you all that. Today, I'm giving you the opportunity, this being the first show of the year, to call in and share your expectations for your club, for your country, for whichever sports you are interested in for the year 2021. The numbers will be displayed on the screen, and I'll pick your calls after this break. This is Off the Cuff here on MX24. You're very much welcome. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Off the Cuff. This is your reference point for all the biggest sports stories across the globe. And still coming up, we'll be looking at all the key events this weekend, locally and internationally. But we'll start first with the year 2021 and our outlook for the year. Sometimes it's surprising because at this time of the year, the Black Stars would have been preparing for the AFCON tournament in 2021, which has now been postponed to 2022. That is how chaotic 2020 was, and it's affected the entire sports calendar, including the calendar for 2021, which has become quite compressed and convoluted, and so there will be quite a number of sports events that will be taking place in 2021. So let me introduce my guest to you. I have Farouk Atipaga. Hi, Farouk.
Hi, Sonny.
And then Yao.
Hi.
Guys, Happy New Year.
Yeah, really happy returns.
Cheers to a very wonderful 2021.
It has to be. It can't be any worse.
People say they were just happy to see the back of 2020.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just get right to it. And we'll be advertising the numbers on the screen. Call me and let me know what your thoughts are. If you are a Kumasi Santos Crowds Hook supporter, let me know what your expectations are. If you love any of the international clubs, Manchester United, Chelsea, let me know what your expectations are as we discuss the various facets of sports in the year 2021 here on Off the Cuff on MX24. So guys, let's start and break it down. We'll look at things internationally and we'll look at things locally. So perhaps let's start internationally, generally, and see what the big stories will be in 2021. Let's start with the UEFA Champions League. Last year was an unusual tournament. I mean, in the end, they had to take them to one location. Yeah. But it looks like this year, business as usual resumes. But clubs have not had a break. What are expectations, Yao? Any favorites come to mind?
It's a funny Champions League, and it's a funny season because if you look at all the leagues, most of the big clubs are struggling.
Yeah.
I mean, Bayern is struggling in...
They lost over the weekend.
Yeah, in Germany. PSG is struggling. They had to change a coach. Mm-hmm. You think that with Man United's struggles, they could be top of the league by midweek. It's a top. It's crazy.
The gap between the teams are so small, Farouk.
It's terrible.
You slip, you're down there. You win a match, you're up there.
It's been a very tight competition across the board. I mean, it tells you that the playing field has been even because of the challenges with COVID. I mean, people didn't have enough time to prepare. Clubs don't have enough finances to be buying players here and there. And so, I mean, it's so tight that if you don't take care and you drop points consistently, the next moment you have to battle with relegation. And it's happening in Ghana too. It's not only exclusive to the European clubs.
Yeah. We'll come to that on the GPO. But on the Champions League, Farouk says that the gap is reducing, the field is leveling. But then there was no doubt that the best team in Europe last season was Bayern Munich by a mile. We saw what they did to Barcelona and all that. As we enter 2021 and 5 months or so before the next Champions League final, do you see any club that looks like, this is a club that's going to win the Champions League?
Honestly, I can't pick a favorite because I look through Europe. I mean, you go to Spain, Barca, Real Madrid, not looking good. Bayern Munich, maybe the English teams.
Maybe
the English teams. Maybe if Liverpool can get some of their good players back, they could. And Man City are looking good in the past few weeks. But we all know that COVID is so unpredictable that you could get your best player having COVID and its debilitating effects will just wipe away all your strength.
Farouk, Any club comes to mind?
Very difficult to pick any club at this point. Outside of Real, maybe it's the best chance for Pep Guardiola to finally win it with Man City. I mean, PSG, I don't know what Pochettino is able to do this time around. I mean, they could push to the very top end. I mean, they falter. Maybe Pochettino would change something unique. But, I mean, as it stands now, if you look at the teams that are favorite, I'll pick Man City, I'll pick PSG. I don't think Liverpool...
You don't pick Bayern? And they still...
Bayern haven't been too convincing as they were last season. That's a fear. But the fact of the matter is that between now and when the Champions League resumes in February, a lot of things can change.
I'm surprised you're not mentioning your club. Perennial favorites for the Champions League, Real Madrid.
Atletico Madrid. I think they are, of all the teams in Europe, they are the most informed team. Yeah, because, perhaps. I mean, Suarez has gone in, João Felix is playing well.
My fear for the English teams is that, you know, at a critical stage, they may be knackered. Playing too many competitions, too many matches in such a short period as opposed to the other one. So we'll see what happens in the Champions League. But still staying generally with you before we come to the specific countries, it's another January and the transfer talk has started. So it's a good place to start 2021. I guess one of the biggest news was Diego Costa deciding that he wants to leave Atletico Madrid and, you know, leave Suarez to his then. And already there's speculation he might come to Wolves. January is not usually the biggest transfer window, but before the end of the month, are there any potential deals you have your eyes on?
You know, in January, there are not too many deals that happen. I can't, because of the compressed season, I can't seem to think of any team who will let go of a star player in January without getting a replacement. So you know, really, I doubt. I mean, the surprising, I saw Sebastian Haller had gone to Ajax. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it just came out of the blue.
For £10 million less the value.
Well, they said if they didn't sell this time around, maybe they might have lost value at the end of the season. I don't know what West Ham might.
Incredibly, it's interesting that this might actually be Messi's last season in Barcelona. And already there's speculation about what kind of transfer he'll command and where he will go to. But obviously, nothing's going to happen in this January window. Are there any particular moves you have your eyes on, Farouk?
I think this is one of the most quiet transfer windows. I mean, and we all expected it to go like this because of the challenges we've had from 2020 going into 2021. You don't really hear the big clubs being linked with any major signing. You know, it's been so dry. Maybe something will just happen.
Is that an indication that people are satisfied with their teams or that they're okay with the business?
Nobody's selling. That's the truth. Nobody's selling.
And you know, in January, normally the prices skyrocket. And in these difficult times, why would you want to go near a player and pay more than, you know, 50% of, or you be doing 50% in excess of the actual
But quite clearly, there are players who are in a limbo where they are. Look at Dele Alli at Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, look at Alaba, who's refused to sign a new contract.
No,
so
he's going to sign. I think he's going to go to Spain, but he'll go at the end of the season.
Where he goes for free?
Yes, because Bayern is not a club that will sell him in January. It's not going to happen. They will let him go for free. I think they resigned themselves to let him go on free.
Maybe Ozil will finally stop tweeting and receiving
He's not going
anywhere.
per week.
So if you're just joining us, this is Off the Cuff. Happy New Year to you. This is the first edition of the show for 2021. We are sharing our expectations for the year 2021 across different fields. And the first two areas we've looked at is the UEFA Champions League. We've also looked at the transfer window, which, as Farouk described, has been one of the quietest in recent history. Perhaps it might pick up pace as we head towards the end of January 2021. Now, let's look at the leagues, because there's a lot happening in the leagues, starting from England. And, you know, for the last few months, the pundits have been made to look stupid so often. One moment they are writing off this club, the next moment, I mean, there was Man City, they said, no, it's one of those seasons finished. Then Chelsea put together a winning run, everybody said, perhaps this is going to happen. Man United was written off after a very poor start at home. Now people are touting Manchester United as potential winners. What's happening in England?
I think, as we said earlier on, because of how compressed the league is, COVID situations and things, the fine lines, the difference between the top first 10 teams is very small. So if you manage to put up a winning streak or winning 4 or 5 matches, you just get close to the top. And if you lose like 3 matches, you're going down.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. Because Tottenham look good to a certain, and then they lost 2 games, and all of a sudden they are down. Yeah. And Man City has started
winning. Look at Arsenal. People were calling them relegation candidates.
Arsenal is only 3 points behind Chelsea. Yeah. Only 3 points. And we at one point they were at 17th or 16th.
Yeah.
So it's just the fine lines. The difference between both a lot of the clubs.
Let me put you on the spot. In the midst of this fine line, who will be the last club standing at the end of this Premier League season?
Very tough.
Hard to tell.
Very, very tough. But I think immediately what we've seen so far, we can say Man City may be lurking around. If you look at the points they have and the outstanding matches, once they're able to clear those 2 matches and, they move into the top 3, they'll just be a point behind the leaders, assuming Man United are able to win the outstanding matches, so as Liverpool. I mean, if you take the whole equation and you credit all the teams with wins.
Looks like people are writing off Liverpool.
No, Liverpool definitely will not have an easy run like they did last season.
But they are still top.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a very, very dangerous position they find themselves in, because they've not been that consistent like last season, where they were brushing aside everyone. They had that team spirit. You beat them and you think you are running away with a point. In the last minute, they equalize or even win to snatch away the 3 points. It's not been rosy for them this season. And maybe injuries here and there. I mean, defensively, they are not the best of teams as compared to what we've seen in the past.
So for you, City?
Yeah, I think City... Man United, I'm not so convinced about their consistency.
Is it for real?
I mean, they've shown us something beautiful in the past few weeks. If they're able to maintain that, I think they will be a strong force. And judging from the fact that Man City themselves struggle anytime they play against Man United. I mean, they beat them recently in the cup competition, but in terms of the league and the statistics, only stands tall as compared to
It's a good time to be discussing this, because next week there's a big match between Manchester United and
Liverpool,
which is a litmus test for both sides to determine whether they... But why shouldn't Southampton win the league?
Oh, I think Southampton is... I mean, if you look at... Even Villa is looking good. And they play well. You see, that's their thing. But if you look on paper, Man City has the best squad in the league. So if they're able to... So clearly they will be a team that could cope more with injuries than any other team.
It's interesting. If things had gone differently, Man City would have been banned this year from the Champions League.
But I mean, you look, they hardly played with Aguero this season, so you can just imagine Aguero coming back.
Yeah.
So Man City, for me, look favourites, but this league has taught us to be careful.
So it looks like between the two of you is Man City with some caution.
Yeah.
Just a quick one before we leave England. How about the sack race? We are in January. Coaches are under pressure. Who is going to win the sack race?
Oh, one is already gone. West Brom sacked.
No, I mean, and Allardyce is having no joy.
Allardyce himself is struggling.
He lost over the weekend to Blackpool.
Okay, the first person that comes to mind is Sheffield United. I think it will be good for Sheffield United to cut their losses and records, because Wilder has been brilliant for them. Yeah. But the trajectory in which they are going is just, they are going downwards.
They just got their first win, and people will think that it doesn't matter whether it was in the FA Cup, and they could still bounce back.
After 17 games, 2 points.
But 2 wins takes you to 8 points.
No, they will
out
not
of the
survive.
bottom. You don't think they'll survive?
It's not possible.
There's pressure on Lampard. You reckon
that?
No,
they won't sack him.
You don't think it will happen?
Nah.
He's riding his luck, because he has worse record than...
It depends on the trend, though. I look at Chelsea and I think it's a team that is not as patient as Man United or Arsenal. I mean, when it gets to the time that they have to let you go, they'll let you go. I mean, that's the kind of owner they have.
How much longer has he got if results don't really improve?
I think per the poor form we saw in the past few weeks, if he's not able to change it and they see it in the next few matches, then maybe that sack option will be considered.
Yeah, if you had a bet, you say, no, he's not.
No, because you see, he has a new team.
And you can't buy... No,
I understand. But you see, you have to... In these times, you have to be a bit sensible, because also the finances of teams are tight. So you can't be going around sacking coaches like you are sacking. No, there are no fans coming into the stadium. Your finances are tight. So if you're going to spend a lot of your money just changing coaches, it's your own business. So I'm thinking they are going to be patient, because clearly he has a new team.
Okay.
They need to give him time to gel. The boys are, I mean, what, 7 players or something. it takes time to gel.
Well, that's our outlook on the English Premier League. Let's just run across the other leagues and see what our expectations are. By May, when all the leagues close, who will be the last club standing with the trophy? Farouk, let's go to your favorite league, Spain.
Well, I think yesterday Real Madrid made it easy for Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
Because if 3 outstanding matches, they are still on top of the table. Yeah. And so if they're able to clear all those 9 points...
Blame it on the snow.
Yeah, Zidane complained. But the thing is that the two teams played on the same pitch.
But Barca won their 3rd straight match. They are inching gradually.
You know, Barca is 3 points behind Real Madrid.
Yes,
all their struggles.
You're written off. Are they clicking? Are they getting it right?
Because Messi is scoring now.
Yeah.
He's scoring. He's creating
chances. Top of the charts
and,
with 11
I mean,
goals.
once Messi is in that mood, everything about Barca changes.
So who wins the title in Spain?
I think Atletico are favourite.
You agree?
Yeah,
there's consensus.
I think that they will win it. They have to win it. I mean, this is the clearest opportunity for them to win the league.
Well, let's go to Italy, where perhaps this is one race that a lot of the neutrals would enjoy, because they are willing on the other teams to finally break the hegemony of Juventus. Juventus has won the last 9 titles. They are going for a decima this time. They are going for a 10th one. Currently, they are 10 points behind the leaders. And people are saying, well, this experiment with Andrea Pirlo, was it really worth it? Shouldn't they just have kept your man in there without sacking him? He's come, he's changed the team and how they play, but they are 10 points. Is this the season, finally, for the first time in 9 seasons, where somebody else, other than Juventus, wins the Serie A?
I think so. I think that Inter and AC are strong. They are looking strong, and AC has surprised me.
But they got beat by Juventus.
Yes, I mean, yeah, but still, I think Inter this year are my favorites to win it, especially last year. If you consider the points that they lost getting to the end, if they had maintained that streak they were on, they would have won the league. So I think Inter should win it.
The problem with Inter is consistency.
I don't trust Conte.
When you
I don't trust him. You know, they should be winning the big matches. They drew with Roma. Yeah. I mean, these are points you need to be picking if you want to win the title. I mean, Juve are winning the big matches. They beat Inter, they beat AC Milan, and even though they are 10 points behind, you know they have 2 outstanding matches.
Yeah.
And they are playing Inter 2 next weekend. Yeah. And so if you're able to win that match, it means it becomes a fight between Juve and AC. So for me, I think Conte was in his best season to win the league for Inter. Last season, he should have won it. Yeah. And this season should have been the best opportunity. He dropped out of a Champions League group that looked pretty easy for him at a point. Yeah. And now in the league that he's supposed to win, he's gradually losing points that he shouldn't be losing.
So you don't trust him?
I don't trust him.
Who win the title in Italy?
I think it's a fight between AC and Juve.
You agree?
Nah, Inter.
one is still sticking with Inter.
Because of what they did last season, and if you look at the squad Inter has, they have goals in the squad. And to win championship, you need goals.
I'm tempted to jump Germany because we know who wins the title in Germany.
Not
Except
necessarily.
Perhaps things might change. So Bayern Munich still top. Leipzig still second. Dortmund were written off. Favre paid for it with his job. They are back to winning ways. Perhaps, not surprisingly, it's coincided with the return of Haaland.
Yeah, and Sancho clearing his head from Man United and playing better. Because yesterday he was brilliant.
Is it going to be another Bayern show? Or perhaps Dortmund, Leipzig, Mönchengladbach, somebody else winning?
I don't trust Dortmund.
Like Inter. Because last season was their title to win. And they lost
if Bayern, I think at the end, Bayern will just use the experience to scrape through. Because they have the best squad. It's just...
Are they getting stronger or perhaps weaker, Bayern Munich? Because last season they were incomparable.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, they are not playing like they did last season, but it's still their title to lose. Yeah. I mean, this is Bundesliga, it's their baby. I mean, the table may be so compressed. Haaland is back, Sandro is scoring, Dortmund are looking pretty good. Leipzig are, just marking their timings here and there. But in the long run, it will boil down to experience and who knows how to win it. And that's where Bayern comes in. This
is Off the Cuff on MX24. If you have just joining us, this is our first show for 2021. We are sharing expectations and looking ahead, looking into the crystal ball concerning what will happen in 2021. So far, we've looked at the Champions League, we've looked at the big leagues in Europe and the transfer markets and the big things that we are expecting to happen, especially in this January transfer window. Now, let's look at the other aspects of the international scene, and then afterwards we'll come locally and look at what some of our predictions are. So because of COVID, the FIFA under-17 and under-20 tournaments have been cancelled. I guess Ghana had an eye on these tournaments. That has not prevented the CAF and the WAFU tournaments from going on, although it won't have any bearing on these competitions because they are not going to happen. But we know the European Championships is happening, for instance. It's dragged on the 11th of June, kickoff at the Estadio Olimpico between Turkey and Italy. And this is going to be a completely different competition because it will be played across different countries. I know the English have been talking up their own chances. The defending champions are Portugal. What are your own expectations about this competition?
I think England will do well. When I look at the English team, they have what it takes to, and especially they have advantage because even though it's being played around, a large chunk of the matches will be played in England. So home advantage. And England have a good young team. But I mean, you can't write off the likes of Germany, the likes of Spain, the likes of Italy, and France.
France, yeah.
I mean, France world champions. Yeah. They still have the Mbappes. They still have the Pogbas.
So if France lined up their team A, their team B, and team C's, they'll still probably win the tournament. But Farouk, well, in most interesting ways 2020 closed was that thumping victory by Spain over Germany. I mean, people thought Germany were getting back up there, but after that result, it seems to have changed a lot of things.
Well, I think we least expected Germany to lose by that margin to Spain, and judging from the fact that before that match, Spain themselves were messing up and they were on the brink of losing that spot to Germany. Yeah. I mean, all of a sudden, they conjured something great. They were able to wallop Germany, and I mean, the one-time world champions looked like an ordinary team. I mean, it's those kind of things that happen once in a while. I mean, it's not something you expect to happen consistently. It's just out of the blue. A big team, a tournament favorite, all of a sudden bows down to a fellow strong competitor. Yeah. Not in the kind of fashion we all expected. Spain might have won that game with that impressive margin, but they themselves have not been that good in recent times. And going into the competition, you should be worried about the kind of...
Who will be your pick for the competition?
I think the world champions.
France.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. They are the team to beat, unless what happened in 92 and what happened in 2004 happens again. In 92, Denmark, who didn't qualify and were brought back into the competition, came to win. In 2004, we remember what happened with the Greeks. And that can always happen in European football. It doesn't happen as much in African football, but that can happen very easily in European
Portugal.
football. One last thing to talk about on football. There's going to be CAF elections this year.
With so much drama.
And if things were different, perhaps our own former FA president would have been the lead candidate to win these CAF elections. Now, what is crucial is that whoever wins the CAF elections becomes a FIFA vice president. And so the latest release from CAF from yesterday's meeting, the list is to be submitted to FIFA for vetting before the elections will proceed to the next stages, because obviously the person will serve as vice president. It's going to change a lot of things. Turbulent period for African football, allegations of fraud, corruptions, it never goes away. And you've seen some of the candidates.
Yeah. That's why I tend to pick out one in Patrice Motsepe. I think for me, he's not really a football person. So I tend to go towards him because I feel there's not too much.
Oh, the football people lean towards him as you are.
Well, it's better for them to take somebody, because we've tried all the football people and see what, I mean, we took Hayatu out thinking Ahmad was going to be the best thing since sliced bread, come in, new ideas, and see.
So we never really got the change. That's the same thing
Hayatu was doing.
It's been quite a letdown, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, after almost 3 decades of Hayatu's reign, we thought something different was going to happen, but Ahmad has pretty much disappointed all of us. I mean, at this point, he's a subject of investigations from FIFA here and there.
It's crazy.
And his reign has not even got into 5 years. All of a sudden, so much drama and a lot of allegations here and there. I think it's not good for the image of African football. We can't be caught up in these kinds of things. I mean, each and every cycle. We have to end it and paint a better picture of the continent to the rest of the world.
Just to wrap up on our outlook for 2021 and the international issues, let's just move away from football. for just a bit and go to boxing. And I have 2 fights I'm looking forward to. Anthony Joshua and then Tyson Fury. Definitely, and perhaps if Alvarez will be minded to fight Gennady Golovkin again, those will be the big. But we enter with Ghana yet again without a world title. 2021. Will anything change?
If you look at the people out there, I don't seem to think. I mean, I thought Richard Comey was going to be, and then he got battered by the Mexican fellow. And
the Mexican American, the chap who beat...
and that guy was good. I mean, for him to go all the way. And so Richard Comey is out. Who else is there?
Well, there's our former darling boy, Mr. Dogbe, who is now,
Neho.
Yeah, Charlie. Off the pace.
Neho has to, I think he has to move weight.
Yeah. There was Duke Micah, who was inching close, and then he also ran into a big punch last year in 2020. And he's probably going to have to start the whole process again. Kemo is still in the system.
No, I think what the GBA needs to do is to get back to the basics. Let's forget about getting a world champion. Let's go back to it. Let's look for good young people and start nurturing them. Maybe in the next 3 years or 4 years, we'll get a world champion.
Locally as well, there weren't a lot of promotions last year due to the COVID. So we'll be hoping that there'll be, some local ones. But internationally, it's the Joshua Fury fights that everybody's looking forward to. We are hoping they'll be able to match that. And then from July 23rd to August 8th, there's the Olympic Games, which was postponed from last year. As we know now, Ghana has 2 boxers who have qualified, who will be participating in that. You have Techi and you have Suleiman, who is the captain of the team. And what we'll try to do is to find out how they manage 2020, because when competitions get postponed, for a lot of people, it's an opportunity to prepare better. Yeah. When it comes to Ghana, it's an opportunity to go to sleep and then wake up 1 month before. And I wonder what sort of preparations. I know that there are 2 athletes who have made their marks. Eke is one of them. Amwine in the sprint as well to qualify. But I don't know what kind of support they will get, because we know usually what happens with Ghana at the Olympic Games.
I mean, the thing is that we always don't have a large contingent. And I mean, when you don't have a large contingent, that's when it should be easier for your authorities to even manage the team better in terms of resources, focus, and trying to get them the best trainers. Because you tend to concentrate on a very few competitions you've qualified for. And so you need to push them. But if these athletes go and, I mean, they just get out at a very early stage of the competition, then, I mean, what were we doing? So I think we have to take advantage of the situation we find ourselves in. You have less than 10 athletes qualifying. Just calm them, prepare them, give them the best of resources. Let them go and, I mean, do something better and raise the flag of the country aloft. But if we sleep and wake up one morning and start buying tickets for people to fly to...
One thing we know is that the contingent of officials will exceed the number of athletes. And after the debacle in the Gold Coast, I don't know how many journalists are going. Australia, where people refused to return, and people went under false pretenses and the debacle. We'll see how that works out, because this Olympic Games is taking place in Tokyo. The football tournament will be a must-watch, because a lot of teams will be using that to size up the youngsters who will make it into their 2022 World Cup squad. And so we'll have an eye on that. Unfortunately, Ghana will not be there. We've not been there since 2004.
The new format has robbed us.
We've not been there. I'm going for a break at this stage. This is MX24. You are watching Off the Cuff. We are looking ahead to 2021. When we come back, we turn our attention locally. This year, World Cup qualifiers are starting. The CAN qualifiers would also be resuming later on this year. The CHAN is being played this month, but Ghana is not in the CHAN competition. We didn't qualify for this. There's the Ghana Premier League, and there are lots of other things to talk about locally, and then we'll look at all the weekend activities. Stay tuned. This is Off the Cuff here on MX24. Welcome back. This is Off the Cuff here on MX24, our first show for the year. We are saying Happy New Year. What kind of year would 2021 be? 2020 was challenging across the board, but particularly in sports, where a lot of sporting events had to be postponed to 2021, which makes for an exciting prospect if you are a sports fan. But how will things pan out with the pandemic still looming large over some of these sporting events? We've looked at the international events, the big ones, our expectations and our predictions for how things will turn out. We are turning our attention now locally to look at some of the key things. And we'll start from the national teams in football. The Black Stars of Ghana had a new coach last year, C.K. Akono. He got the opportunity to have a few matches. He started in the most disastrous way possible. I remember in the friendly matches, and then he recovered, and then he had a couple of wins in qualifiers. What kind of year are you expecting for the Black Stars in 2021?
Okay, so let me take it from this way. I want our players to be doing well.
In Europe?
In Europe. So our star player, I want Kudus back to playing the way he was playing before he got injured.
Our two biggest stars now are both injured.
I want Thomas Partey to be back and playing as he was playing before he got injured. Andre Ayew has been fantastic for Swansea. Long may he continue. And
let me just say, if the maestro was the one behind the decision to make him stay as opposed to seeking for options elsewhere, I think it's been a brilliant decision.
It's been a brilliant decision, and he's flourishing there.
And he has to be congratulated.
My only worry is Jordan. He needs to be playing.
I think he's been usurped in the team, eh?
No, because you see, Roy Hodgson has always been the old-fashioned English coach who wants a big striker. So as soon as Benteke started showing form, he switched to Benteke.
And then there's Eze. I mean, Jordan used to be the carrier together with Zaha. And then Eze comes in, takes it easy. Easy-going guy, you know. He's got skill.
He's playing well.
We saw the goal he scored the last time. Suddenly, he's not playing.
So we need Jordan well, because you see, for the Black Stars to flourish, we need our players playing well. We don't want collapse like the situation where they'll go and bring a Barbara man who's hardly kicked the ball. No, we don't want that. We want our players to be consistent, even if it's the second division and he's playing consistent. I prefer that to a player who is playing under 23 matches now. So we need our players playing.
Farouk, it's obviously a big problem. I mean, we haven't, apart from the Partey one, and then Kudus, to be honest, the era where we had players playing in the top leagues and top teams seems like a bygone era now.
Luckily, I think Kudus played today.
Okay,
the game against
PSG. Yeah, so hopefully he shouldn't get injured to the end of the season. Partey, I'm sure, pretty surely he's going to recover and start playing.
He's back in training.
Yeah, so I mean, we're just hoping that beyond the players playing consistently, most of our key players will stay out of injuries. That's also important for the team. Once we get them playing consistently and they are not getting injured, I mean, it should make it easy for CK. And for the coach to also flourish, he should stay away from the Mickey Mouse kind of selection. That justification for including Baraman in that squad didn't make sense. I hope that in 2021 they will choose players who are really playing competitively and deserve positions in the Black Stars, and not considering players on the back of they getting injured some time ago, and so you need to do some Father Christmas sort of thing for them.
Do you know it was almost 2 years ago that Ghana went to play in the Nations Cup hosted in Egypt?
Yeah.
And didn't do very well. In that 2 years, have you seen progress? And if the AFCON had actually gone ahead and we're playing AFCON this month, would Ghana be a contender?
No, it would have been difficult for us. I think that we need to. I think we need to sit down and start looking at things more strategically than this Mickey Mouse way of approaching things. Tournament is coming. Let's get some players in.
Let's give them big bonuses.
We need to build a team.
And how long are we willing to build? Because, you know, the pressure will start cranking up once a tournament starts getting
because
close.
You see, they say insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result. Look, we need to sit down and build a team. We can decide to sacrifice the next AFCON. I don't care. Build a team that we know that in the next AFCON, the next two AFCONs, we are going to win it. In the next World Cup, we are going to make a good statement. I prefer that to us gathering players, giving them money, forcing them, they will get to semi-final and lose. No, that's not what I want.
Farouk, later this year, the World Cup qualifiers will start. People forget that in 2022, there's another World Cup in Qatar. And this will be played later in the year in 2022 and not at the usual period. Is Ghana ready for a World Cup qualifier? And just to put things in context for those who do not know, what CAF and FIFA agreed was to replicate the 2014 format for qualification. It means that the teams have been drawn into 10 groups, 4 teams each. The winners of each of those 10 groups will be drawn into a straight playoffs over 2 legs. Now, if you do not know, Ghana is already drawn with South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Ethiopia. that is a group we must win and then be drawn against the other seeds in a direct playoff in order to make it to Qatar 2022. Are we ready for this?
It's not an easy group, though. We should be ready.
And we are already playing SA in the African qualifiers.
We should be ready. I mean, we have no excuse. Having missed the previous World Cup in Russia, I don't think we can afford to miss Qatar.
Is this format favorable?
Yeah, it's already done with his savings for Qatar.
Yeah. So we are going to Qatar.
So clearly, I mean, we're just hoping that Kurt and the administration will put in place now we have a technical director. There should be a plan. We just don't bring technical directors to come and occupy offices for nothing. There should be a plan. We should see that plan being replicated on the field of play, and we should see the transition also going on. Like we mentioned, the ingredients are your players playing consistently, staying out of injuries, and getting the selection right. Once we get these three things in the equation fully fit, I think we should be able to compete favorably.
Do you see Ghana at the 2022 World Cup?
It will be tough, but we should be there.
It's an expanded World Cup. If we can't make it, then I don't know, because it's not the 4 teams. I think Africa has 8.
There'll be other playoff slots. But if you want to guarantee your place at the World Cup, you need to get one of the 2 or 3 slots.
For topping our group, it should be possible.
Yeah. It's a playoffs.
Beyond that is where you would have doubts. I mean, you want to see the opponents.
Let me just go straight. So Ghana gets drawn against Nigeria.
No, we're not happy.
Let's say we top the group. Ghana tops the group. You get drawn in.
I think they're going to use the African ranking. So if they're going to use it, at least the top 5 teams in Africa will not face each other. So.
Are we top 5?
I haven't checked the
last FIFA the problem is that I don't
even think they have been publishing the FIFA ranking in it.
Truth is that I don't see the Black Stars in the same fashion as I saw them 5 years ago.
Well, that's true.
When they were consistently in the semi-finals of AFCONs repeatedly. You know.
So now suddenly we are underdogs.
Yeah.
When we go up against certain categories of teams in Africa, they'll be bullish about their chances against us. I was looking at the draw. I saw Mali in another group. I said, Charlie, you should get drawn against Mali.
Those guys are stubborn.
See, there are teams that a few years ago we would struggle. Look at what Benin did to us in 2019.
I think for us, the good thing is that we are having some good players popping up.
Yeah.
And that's my only consolation, because if I look at our midfield, I mean, Kudus is playing, Partey is playing, we have the Chapat, Idrisu Baba playing, Dede is playing well. My only worry of Black Stars has been the defense. If we get some good, I don't know what's happening with Salisu at Southampton, he can hardly kick a ball there, but if we get our defense right, we'll match any team in Africa, apart from maybe Senegal.
I think we need to shed the arrogance as well, because typically in Africa, when you fall off your perch in terms of World Cup qualification, it doesn't. You don't return instantly.
Yeah.
I mean, the Senegalese had to battle to come back. It's happened to a few teams. So there has to be a deliberate effort and a plan. And at some point, the coach will need to start having a small squad that he can rely on. I think he's done enough trialing within the period.
Yeah.
Kwesi Appiah did the same thing. Went into 2019.
Yeah.
And
I think CK needs to get like 30 players that he's going to use. 30, and that's it.
We need to decide if this World Cup thing is a priority for us. These are the 30 players I want
to use, and use them.
Last year was a trial period. I mean, when you get to start playing World Cup qualifiers, you don't do trials again. You need to get serious. And so I'm thinking that by now, he should have in his mind a clear cut of players that he thinks that he can rely on for the assignments ahead of him. Even with the AFCON qualification, we are not done. So, I mean, he has his job well cut out for him.
Wow. So that's for the Black Stars. We have a lot of expectation running on them. We won't talk about their age teams because of the cancellations of the major competitions. But we will talk about the administration of sports in this country. For the first time in a very long time, we've had a long-serving minister for sports.
Yeah.
4 years?
4 years. That's, I mean, it's amazing, because it used to be a ground where when you go after a few months, there's one scandal that will take you.
How did Honorable Isiama survive the 4 years?
I'm surprised he survived that.
I mean, because the AFCON 2019 was a disaster.
Yeah.
He said people were
surrounded by all sorts of issues.
Penalty kicks, Shamayanko.
You
couldn't do it.
There was the budgeting matter that was never completely satisfactorily clarified. But then, it was brushed aside, water under the bridge, I guess. and he survived. In 2021, are we expecting a different
minister? I think there will be a change. Because, I mean, even though Esiama survived, you have to realize his deputy was changed. I mean, they moved
Pius
to information and brought Perry.
We even had, so Perry was
the deputy. Yeah. So there was a change in there. And I'm thinking the president would want to, not just because of, he would want to freshen up things. So, I mean, I don't expect to see Esiama there.
What kind of change are we going to get? Because that's been the problem. I don't think in the last 4 years we've really seen any significant improvement in our football fortunes. Yes, but we've seen major,
there is a major tax for Ghana in 2 years' time.
Oh yes, so we might as well start talking about it. So once upon a time, Ghana went to bid for the All-African Games, and we awarded the All-African Games to much fanfare. And it's in 2023. I suspect that, there's some huge construction of Olympic stadia and other things going on, because 2023 is just 2 years out.
The last I heard of it was about the venue for the construction of the stadium. I mean, it talks about
Boteman.
Yeah.
On the motorway.
Yes. I think it was Boteman.
Yes.
Near where the new TEF club, where they moved the Legon Farm.
Boteman on the motorway.
I haven't seen any cranes.
No, well, their plan is to build an Olympic Center. That's a plan. So I expect that
the plan is there. The land, I think, has been secured.
So let's wait, because I expect I don't know when they are going to read the budget, but I expect to see something like that in the budget this
year. For 2021.
Yes, if we don't see it, then I'll know that we're in trouble.
So in 2021, let's break it down. Infrastructure-wise, commencement of preparations must be seen for the 2023.
Yes.
Because look, we've been doing this job for a very long time, over 15 years. I've seen preparations for tournaments. Okay. I saw what happened in 2008. There were lofty ideas. And then quickly, we had to arrange to bring in the Chinese to build those two stadiums so we could meet the deadlines, because the original plans were not realistic.
And that was even just football.
Yeah, we saw what happened when we hosted the women's. A lot of rash things happen when we host competitions. And then we need to paper over cracks. People complain about all that. So that's infrastructure. Then there's is there an LOC already in place?
There is.
What have they done? What are their terms of reference, and what have they done so far? Have they started work? And beyond infrastructure, nobody hosts competitions to underperform.
Yeah.
So what's happening?
Yeah. So that's my worry, because I needed to see more from. You see, you're hosting a tournament, so we should have been able to identify some specific disciplines that we think we can excel. And by now, I expect that there would have been plans to start camping some good.
Because the All-African Games is a mini Olympics.
Yeah.
So the scope of sports.
Yeah, a lot. So you can choose. Maybe boxing, we'll be good at boxing, we are good at volleyball, we are good at basketball, we are good at this. Let's start camping people so that in the next 2 years, we know that at least there'll be some medals. Because there's no point in hosting an event that you can't win.
Only for Nigeria to come and top the medal.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Or South Africa or those giants.
It's been a bad year for the other sports. At least football got the opportunity to bounce back. But 2020 looks like everybody else went to sleep.
I mean, everyone will hide behind COVID, expectedly so. I mean, even without COVID, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Then there is COVID, so you would ordinarily draw an easy conclusion that, wow, it just didn't go.
So we'll look forward to the appointment by the president. We'll see who becomes the new sports minister. This coupling with youth and sports, I'm sure, will be maintained. But the Marquee projects, and in fact, what will be put in place, possibly, to change the direction of Ghana sports, is something we'll have our eyes keenly on. Whether the ministry will become a Black Stars ministry, as we've seen in years gone by, we will see. It's the president's legacy for a year period. And so I guess something has to be done to transform the fortunes of Ghana sports. Let's turn attention to the Ghana Premier League. Last 2 years have been turbulent.
Yeah.
Truncated league, it comes back. I mean, COVID affected everybody. But now they are in week 8, which suggests that we will finally finish a season.
Yes, we hope so. I mean, unless COVID decides to bring its ugly head again, I think we should finish it.
The league, clubs didn't have facilities, but we can't have much to complain about, can we? I mean, given the challenges that the clubs have had.
I mean, so far, I think they've worked with what is available.
Yeah.
In terms of resources, in terms of policy direction.
We still don't have a title sponsor though.
Well, I mean, if you talk to them, they will tell you they are still working on it, and we should expect it anytime they are able to make a headway. It's quite disappointing. We know that things will be difficult on the back of what happened to Ghana football in the past 2 years. But hopefully we should be able to clean up the mess and package football well. I mean, we can't have our teams playing in a very dry league season in, season out. That trend must end.
So finally, the Division 1 league resumed this weekend. So they are joining the Ghana Premier League. We don't know much about what's happening at the grassroots level and all that, which will bring us the Ghana Football Association and the expectations. Is this going to be Kurt's second year?
Yes, and he started well, so I'm really looking forward to this year because, I mean, especially the Women's League, what they were doing for women's football, the Division 1 League, at least there was some action put up there. So there are some lofty ideas that the FA and the Executive Council have come up, and I'm really looking forward to this year. It shouldn't just be all talk. There should be some action.
What was the mantra again?
Game changer.
Game changer. No, they had something.
Creating wealth and
creating wealth for all. Something.
Yeah.
It was all about
the world being created.
Yeah. For the world, so far, not yet.
But is the game also being changed?
Well, I think maybe it will be too early because 2029 was a very disruptive year. We'll just wait to see how things pan out in the course of 2020 was a pretty difficult year. So 2021, we'll just measure how things go and we'll be able to tell. Because the league is their baby product. I mean, for the national teams, they have to collaborate with government. But this is where they take center stage. Their policy decisions, I mean, marketing decisions and what have you. Everything that they do in their boardroom should reflect on the Ghana Premier League. And so once it goes well, we know that, yes, they've done something quite well with regard to their own product.
Who's going to win the Ghana Premier League?
No, you know, okay, maybe now they're allowing fans in, so maybe
25% capacity.
But I was seeing some figures for some stadia, and I was wondering where they got those figures. I saw the Wu Park, they said it seated 6,000 people. I was like,
how?
Are these people serious? The Liberty Park they said it was seating about 4,000.
Kaurindo.
I'm like, are you sure you can get 4,000 people in Kaurindo when most of the people are even standing?
Standing,
yeah.
So some of I don't know what thought process went into that, but the league is going to be difficult. I don't know. I still tip Midiama and Kotoko. But I see Haas playing well these days. I mean, Costa Papic seems to be doing some good things.
See, Ram Takra had to focus into.
The
story of the league so far, though, is Kotoko and their exploits and their internal issues. And, you know, now that they're out of the Champions League. Then, you know, it's funny, when I heard the Kotoko story, first I said, this is a taste of Kotoko's own medicine. Because here we were talking about the Mauritanian team. And say, why didn't they bring a bigger squad?
So, right? You know, you see, I don't understand some things. I mean, you know that there's a possibility that your players would be tested for COVID. No matter what test you do here, you can get there. And, I mean, I know there was the whole shenanigans about fake tests.
But
no
the Mauritanians accused us of the same thing.
Well, but no matter what, you take a bigger squad.
Yeah.
Take a bigger squad. I mean, the president gave you guys some small money to, I don't know, it was $50,000. Or at least use the opportunity to take, they took 20 players. You could have taken 30 players.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm not sure about legal challenge, but
forget it. They will waste their time. Nobody's going to listen to them.
And even yesterday there was a press statement that 8 of their players and officials tested positive at the airport.
Here?
Yeah, 4 players,
including
4
the CEO himself.
Oh.
So clearly, I mean, the Sudanese were not lying entirely.
Yeah.
There were some
but the Kwame Poku test. He tested later on at the airport. Military hospital.
Even at the airport.
And he was
even at the airport.
No, I think that they checked the Kotoko team and then they looked at it. Kwame Poku was the only guy who scores for Kotoko there. Let's take this guy out.
Let's take him out. I mean, the African drama.
Yeah, you know.
African drama.
I mean, but to be honest, they were up against the COVID or no COVID.
I doubt. I mean, when the draw was made, we knew that Kotoko. And you know the sad part. But they're meeting Setif are top of the Algerian league.
Yeah.
And if they take a play from what these Sudanese, then I'm sure like half of the team of Kotoko, if they get to Algeria, I'll tell
so you mean the new underhand tactics in African football is what?
And you see, it's a big problem that CAF need to realize.
Yeah, you need to.
What CAF should have done was there should have been an independent COVID testing hospital in every country, so that nobody can really influence. So if it's these guys who do, whether it's Lancet and they are everywhere, you choose the. I mean,
I think it's even the Russians managed to rig the doping.
But you see, at least it gives a certain level playing field. Because a lot of teams are going to abuse it.
I agree. Just to wrap up for the last 5 minutes, let me just update you across Europe on the biggest stories. In England, it was the FA Cup. That's the biggest story. Leeds, the biggest casualties, lost by 3-0 against Crawley. I don't know if this is just a kamikaze move to just concentrate on the league.
No, okay, Leeds has always been a kamikaze team, so and I'll be realized. But I mean, when I saw the result, I didn't watch the game. When I saw the result, I just went to look at the lineup. And they had Rodrigo playing.
No, they had everybody there.
They had all, I mean, apart from Patrick Bamford. And I was shocked.
They are out, and you can see how they lost. West Bromwich Albion, Sam Allardyce, a.k.a. Allardyce.
I think he'll resign, no. He'll run away.
The job is getting more
These results only go to emphasize the fact that Bailey should not have been sacked.
Well, what Allardyce is saying is that he needs to buy 2 strikers.
No, but Bilic also needed players. He was complaining about the lack of signings.
Well, Bilic we want somebody who hasn't been relegated before. So the West Brom directors decided to.
Blackpool put West Bromwich Albion to the sword via penalty shootouts after the game ended 2-2 in normal time. This was also historic because this was the first time there had been a penalty shootout in the FA Cup. And then a second game. Previously, the FA Cup always went into replays. Yeah. But look, the calendar is already congested. There was no way they were going to go into replays. So that's what happened in England. Most of the big boys survived. Manchester United managed a draw 1-0 win over Watford. And so another FA Cup weekend. Allardyce, some are just saying that, give Allardyce the Barcelona job.
he made a comment like they are saying Pep Guardiola he should come and manage West Brom and let's see whether he will play the fancy football
on a cold winter day.
Whether you can play the fancy football
in Spain, as we mentioned earlier on in the program, Real Madrid. Well, there's been a snowstorm that came down in Spain, and it seems Real Madrid took the brunt of that. They went to Osasuna, you can see there. People in Spain not used to heavy snowfall.
They were cold.
It was 0-0. Barca won by 4-0 against Granada. What that means is that Atletico have 38 points. Real Madrid has 37 points. Barcelona have 34 points.
Yeah, and Barca have not been playing well. Koeman has been disastrous. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking. This has been his dream job, and he's fluffing the lines. It's amazing.
I think it was a slow start. Obviously, there wasn't money to buy certain players. He's had to, but he's bloodied the youngsters. And then he's getting something out of them.
I think things are getting better.
Yeah. As we mentioned, in Italy, Inter choked 2-2 with Roma. Yeah. Milan lead by 3 points after their 2-0 win over Torino. Juventus are 10 points adrift. But it's Juventus who've won the last 9 titles. So watch out for them. In Germany, Dortmund won by 3-1 against Leipzig.
Good game.
It means they are 5 points behind Bayern Munich, who have 33 points. Bayern Munich lost by 3-2 against Mönchengladbach.
Yeah.
Very, very surprising scoreline. And the big story in France is the appointment of Pochettino. People are like, PSG is such an individualistic team. They are surprised that Pochettino is being appointed because he likes to emphasize the group over individual players.
It's the romantic story. He's a former player. He wants to go back. And Tuchel bent his bridges earlier on. The way Tuchel is, he's one-track minded, and he had a fight with Leonardo, and we all knew that there was only going to be one winner. Leonardo was brought back by the president to fix the club, and there was no way Tuchel was going to win.
The elephant in the room still is how Pochettino managed the ego of Neymar.
Yeah, that's a big one. Neymar would always be difficult to manage.
Not just Neymar, Mbappe.
Yeah, Mbappe too, gradually picking up in terms of ego. I mean, with what he's doing, naturally you should expect him to get to that stage. I think he has individual stars that he needs to find a way of blending together.
I guess the best story I heard was rumors that Neymar had called up Messi to say, I need you here.
As to whether it will happen will be announced.
But the marking scheme will be high for him because Tuchel didn't do badly.
Yeah, he's got to the Champions League final.
Yeah.
And now, at the minimum, you need to win the league.
Yes.
And get them back there.
And get them back to the last four of the Champions League. And so the marking scheme will be high. It won't be an easy job for him.
It promises to be an interesting 2021, and we'll be here to bring you up to date and to analyze and break down all the key stories. Farouk and Daniel, thank you very much for joining us this evening. This is our first edition for 2021, and it's just the appetizer. There's more to come in our subsequent programs. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Have a blessed week, and please stay safe. That the pandemic has not completely disappeared yet. Keep the mask on. Make sure you use your hand sanitizers and you wash your hand. And don't take any of the safety measures for granted. Enjoy your week.